Spirit warriors, something just broke in the spiritual realm. Did you feel it? Because they did. Have you ever been so underestimated, so doubted, that when your enemies tried to destroy you, the universe flipped the script right in their faces? Let me tell you something. Chosen ones. There was once a young woman who worked quietly in a dusty little bookstore on a forgotten street corner. She was kind, quiet, and deeply spiritual. People mocked her behind her back. They thought her silence was weakness, her gentleness was naivety. Her so-called friends tried to sabotage her, set her up, lied about her, manipulated her. She knew it, she felt it, but she said nothing. She prayed, she stayed grounded, and she waited. Years later, that same girl was running her own publishing company, traveling the world, speaking at spiritual conferences. Meanwhile, those who plotted against her were scrambling, calling everyone, posting fake smiles, trying to get help from anyone because they had lost everything. They've percent Katie up bad, trying to mess with the chosen one, spirit warriors, that never ends well. When you're God's anointed, you can't be toyed with, you can't be replaced, and you sure as heaven can't be taken down by low vibrational chaos. So now, they're looking for help in all the wrong places, begging for energy, trying to fill their void, but nothing's working. Why? Because the one they tried to bury was the seed. As it says in Psalm 23:5, he prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So listen up, chosen ones. Stay till the end of this video because we're diving deep. This isn't just story time, it's spiritual strategy. You're going to see exactly how the tables turned, why the karma hit different, and why they're running around now like chickens with no spiritual GPS. You, my spirit warriors, need to hear this because it's confirmation that staying aligned with God, holding your peace and trusting divine timing is powerful. Let's get into it. Point 1. They underestimated your silence. You weren't loud, you weren't reactive. You didn't flood timelines with emotional rants or waste time firing back at low vibrational energy. And to the untrained eye, that looked like weakness. To the noisy ones, your silence felt like surrender. But Earth Angel, let's set the record straight. Your stillness wasn't submission, it was sacred. While they were shouting to be seen, you were hidden in God's classroom, learning lessons that don't come with applause, but come with anointing. The world misreads the quiet ones because they confuse silence with lack of power. But in the spiritual realm, silence is often the loudest declaration of strength. The truth is, chosen ones don't react, they respond, and that response is often led by divine timing, not ego. While they were scrambling for attention, you were mastering alignment. You weren't clapping back because you were clapping forward into your purpose, into your legacy, into your higher calling. And in that sacred stillness, you were tuning your spirit to a frequency they can't hear. See, when God gets ready to do something big in your life, he doesn't send a memo to your enemies. He moves in silence. The same way a seed grows underground before breaking the surface, you were being cultivated in the dark, not buried. Scientific studies show that silence literally rewires the brain, restoring the nervous system, enhancing creativity, boosting memory, and helping with emotional regulation. And spiritually, silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Ancient mystics, prophets, and sages throughout history practiced silence not to retreat from the world, but to reconnect with the divine. You weren't ignoring life, you were digesting the lessons, filtering the distractions, and sharpening your discernment. Your quiet wasn't weakness, it was preparation. But now, the whispers you heard in prayer are becoming shouts in reality. What you built in private is about to speak volumes in public. Those who mocked your stillness are about to be stunned by your storm. And make no mistake, this storm isn't destruction, it's revelation. It's the unveiling of everything God was doing while they thought nothing was happening. They underestimated your quiet because they couldn't comprehend your connection, but chosen ones, divine silence is strategy. And now that strategy is unfolding, loud, undeniable, and powerful. Point 2, they forgot who you belong to. People often underestimate the gravity of their actions, thinking they're simply taking jabs at another person, throwing shade, lying, gossiping, or plotting betrayal, like it's all just part of the human game. But when they target a chosen one, they're not just messing with flesh and blood, they're challenging a divine assignment. You see, chosen ones don't operate under the same rules as everyone else. You're not just another face in the crowd. You are marked, covered, and set apart. You belong to God, not to this world. And when people come against you, whether knowingly or unknowingly, they are treading into spiritual territory they can't even begin to comprehend. That's why their attacks didn't land the way they thought they would. Have you ever noticed how people have thrown their worst at you? Lies, sabotage, abandonment, and yet somehow you're still standing. That's not by accident. That's divine intervention. According to Psalm 91:11, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Before they even opened their mouths to speak against you, angels were already positioned around you like a heavenly task force, deflecting spiritual darts and whispering strength into your weary soul. They plotted, but the plan backfired. They lied, but the truth outshined the deception. They betrayed, but your spirit didn't break. It leveled up. That's the kind of protection chosen ones walk with. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's divine. The same God who neither sleeps nor slumbers saw every scheme in real time, and while your enemies thought they were in control, God was silently scripting their lesson. And now the tables have turned. While you're out here healing, glowing, and growing, they can't sleep. Regret haunts them. Their conscience keeps replaying how they tried to bury someone God had already planted. It's not vengeance, it's conviction. They realize now that they were never fighting you. They were wrestling with purpose, with destiny, with the divine hand of God on your life. So don't seek revenge. Don't waste energy proving your worth. Let your elevation be your explanation. Let them sit with their regret while you rise in peace. Because when someone messes with a chosen one, they don't just make a mistake, they pick a fight with heaven, and heaven always wins. Point 3, they called for help, but heaven put them on hold. Now they're panicking. You can feel the shift, can't you? The same people who once mocked your spiritual path, gossiped behind your back, and tried to sabotage your growth. Now they're restless, desperate. They're calling every so-called energy healer, texting that one friend who reads cards, buying bundles of sage like it's Black Friday, charging crystals under the moon, chanting affirmations they don't even believe in. But still, nothing's hitting, not even a flicker of peace, not a drop of clarity, just pure spiritual static. Why? Because when you go to war against a chosen one, you're not just messing with a person. You're standing in direct opposition to divine order. That's not superstition, it's spiritual law. The universe, God's source, whatever name you call it, has a pattern, a plan, and a protection program for those anointed with purpose. And when someone tries to disrupt that divine assignment, they trigger consequences far beyond what candles and chakras can cleanse. This isn't karma in a cute quote. This is justice in full effect. Let's get specific. Energetically, when someone operates from envy, deceit, or spiritual manipulation, they lower their vibration. And when that energy is aimed at someone spiritually aligned, like a chosen one, it's like throwing dust at the sun. It doesn't dim the light, it just blows back in their face. That's why they're experiencing what feels like a spiritual blackout. Doors they once walked through are now closed. Money they used to manifest effortlessly is drying up. Relationships they manipulated to their favor, crumbling, peace gone, sleep disturbed, dreams, nightmares. Chosen ones, your silence has been your shield. You didn't clap back, you didn't curse them. You just stayed on assignment, walking with God, healing in private, and letting your light speak for itself. And that's what's tormenting them now, because they realize you knew the whole time. You saw through their fake smiles, their subtle sabotage, their energy leaching, and you still rose above it. That's spiritual power, so let them light their incense and read their horoscopes while pacing the floor. Because the real reason nothing's working isn't about Mercury retrograde or planetary shifts, it's about spiritual alignment, and they lost theirs when they went against a chosen one. Their spiritual signal is blocked. Meanwhile, you're still rising, still protected, still chosen. Point 4. You kept rising when they kept scheming. While they were busy playing digital dress-up, crafting fake profiles, manufacturing clout, forming shallow alliances that crumble under the weight of real pressure, you were quietly, courageously becoming the realest version of yourself. They were busy curating illusions, hoping to impress people who don't even know themselves, while you chose the gritty, sacred path of healing. Not the kind that looks good on social media, but the kind that breaks you wide open, stitches you back together with truth, and turns your scars into maps of wisdom. They invested their time trying to tear you down, throwing shade, planting seeds of doubt, and hoping your growth would be stunted by their envy. But you were watering your roots in silence. While they gossiped in group chats and whispered behind your back, you were growing in divine alignment. You understood something they didn't, that peace is power, and authenticity is an armor no lie can penetrate. Every tear you cried was a baptism, every lonely night a revelation. And now you shine, not because you sought applause or approval, but because you earned it in the fire of becoming. Your light is different. It exposes what's fake. It reflects what's real. And that's exactly why they can't look directly at your life without feeling convicted. Psychologically, when people see someone they once tried to diminish succeed, it forces them to face their own insecurity. It's called cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of realizing they were wrong about you. And that discomfort, it's a mirror, one they can't look into without seeing their own misjudgments staring back. They fumbled, not just because they doubted your talent or misunderstood your heart, but because they bet against someone whose worth was never theirs to measure. They gambled against a soul that heaven had already approved. You were never just another one. You were chosen, covered, protected. While they clung to counterfeit identities, you became undeniable truth. The irony? Everything they tried to fake, confidence, connection, status, is what you naturally radiate just by being real. So no, don't waste your time on revenge. Don't match their energy, transcend it. Let them sit in the regret of their own short-sightedness while you keep soaring. Because your rise is the revelation, and baby, they can't unsee it now. At point 5, they try to drain you, but only drain themselves. Energy vampires are real, not the cape-wearing kind from folklore, but the emotional drainers disguised as friends, co-workers, or even family. They smile to your face, compliment you when it's convenient, and pretend to cheer for you. But behind that mask lies a hidden agenda, to leech off your energy, your light, your divine essence. They don't come for what you have, they come for who you are. Spiritually speaking, they are not drawn to your achievements, they are addicted to your glow. And here's the plot twist that changes everything. They were never built to handle it. Your light is sacred. It's the kind of light that isn't taught, it's God-given. That purity in your heart, that fire in your soul, that favor on your life. It's celestial currency, and not everyone has the spiritual wallet to carry it. So when these energy vampires got close, thinking they could control or dim you, they were in for a divine surprise. Your energy wasn't a flicker. They walked into a wildfire, and now they're singed by their own greed. Psychologically, energy vampires often display narcissistic or manipulative tendencies. According to Dr. Judith Orloff, a UCLA psychiatrist and author of the Empath Survival Guide, energy vampires are often drawn to kind, empathetic souls because they're easy to exploit. They drain your mental and emotional reserves, leaving you exhausted and confused. And once they no longer have access to your energy, they start to unravel. Now they're the ones burnt out, scrambling from one connection to the next, wondering why they can't feel full anymore. The truth? You were the plug. Your energy was their supply, and now that you've unplugged, they're malfunctioning. Burnt bridges follow them like shadows. They can't keep a connection lit because they were never self-sustaining in the first place. But here's the empowering part. Don't get bitter, get better. This is your spiritual upgrade. Your detachment isn't revenge, it's protection. When you rise, rise quietly. Let your light shine brighter, but from a place of discernment. Because the people who once tried to dim you are now stuck in the dark, learning the hard way that you weren't just a source, you were the sunrise they never appreciated. And now, they're living in twilight while you walk in full day favor. Point 6, their karma arrived with receipts. When you're marked as one of God's chosen, life doesn't follow the usual script. It's not just about having faith, it's about carrying a divine assignment, one that sets you apart, even when you don't ask for the spotlight. You've endured more than most, not because you're weak, but because you're chosen to bear witness to divine strength. You've walked through fires that should have consumed you, stood in storms that should have swept you away, and faced betrayal that would have broken a lesser soul. But you didn't break. You bent, you bruised, but you didn't bow. And while others whispered behind your back, heaven was writing your vindication in bold, undeniable strokes. Now the truth is showing up, and it's loud. The seeds of lies, manipulation, and false narratives that others try to plant in secret are sprouting publicly, and it's not the garden they hoped for. Weeds are overtaking their image, thorns are piercing their reputation, and consequences are blooming in full view. The charm they used to deceive has expired. The masks they wore, falling off like autumn leaves. Suddenly, people are connecting dots they once ignored and realizing you were never the problem, you were the mirror. But this isn't just a coincidence, it's alignment. It's what spiritual law has always promised. Karma is cause and effect, not chaos and revenge. And chosen ones don't need to clap back. Your silence has always spoken louder than slander. While they were busy plotting, you were praying. While they tried to bury you, you were being rooted. Now relationships that were built on lies are crumbling. Fake careers are collapsing, and those who climbed using crooked ladders are falling fast. But here's your test. Will you get bitter or better? Because your strength isn't just in surviving, it's in not becoming what tried to break you. God used them to polish you, prepare you, and now He's using you as proof that integrity outlives illusion. You didn't just win, you evolved. So let karma play its part. Let heaven thunder when it must. And you just keep rising. Point 7, you were the lesson they never saw coming. Here's the real spiritual gag. They didn't realize you were the test. Not a problem to solve, not a pawn to manipulate. A divine assignment cloaked in humility, love, and light. God didn't place you in their lives by accident. You were the mirror meant to reflect their truth, their wounds, and their potential for growth. You were the walking revelation, the unexpected gift wrapped in authenticity. But instead of recognizing the blessing, they chose betrayal. They mocked your sincerity, misunderstood your silence, and tried to measure your worth through their own broken lens. What they didn't realize is that spiritual tests aren't always trials, they're often people. And God will sometimes disguise divine interventions in ordinary human form. When you showed up with genuine intention, patience, and truth, it rattled their inner chaos. They weren't ready to face themselves, so instead they projected. They tried to play games, not knowing you were never in the arena to play. You were there to wake them up. Now the tables have turned. While you rise in peace, purpose, and power, they spiral. They're caught in the same emotional loops, wondering why life feels stagnant. That's the divine irony. They're failing the very test they dismissed, repeating karmic lessons they could have graduated from if they'd only seen you for who you were, a mirror, not a threat. And the silence, oh, that's your new sermon. Your absence is doing more spiritual teaching than your presence ever could. It's speaking in volumes they can't ignore. It's echoing in the hollow space they tried to fill with ego and manipulation. But don't let bitterness sit in your heart. Let grace carry you. Forgive them, release them, and keep rising. Because the test wasn't just for them. It revealed your own strength, resilience, and divine protection. Spirit warriors, listen closely. When your light begins to shine, it doesn't just illuminate your path, it exposes shadows in others. Darkness cannot stand in the presence of divine alignment. Your elevation wasn't just about success, it was spiritual movement. And when you moved higher, those who thrived in manipulation and control lost their grip. They didn't just lose you, they lost access to a vessel of divine favor. Biblically, Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit, thinking they were ending his story. Instead, they were disconnecting themselves from the very one God would later use to save a nation. That's what happened to those who underestimated you. You didn't lose anything. They lost the grace that flowed through your presence. They lost the favor God attached to your journey. And most importantly, they lost someone chosen. So when you see them spiraling, seeking answers in all the wrong places, know this: the tables haven't just turned, they've been flipped by divine design. Your presence disturbs strongholds. Your obedience activates blessings. Your very existence is proof that the spiritual battle is real and that you're winning it. So stay awake, stay walking in purpose. Heaven's watching and hell is nervous. Keep going, chosen one.